You know who's really going to try to win a playoff game this year, Logan? Both of whom would have certainly expected to do so before the year, but now it's a
Mm-hmm.
bit more of a question. The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you think is the more dangerous team right now?
Jesus Christ, man. I don't know how long I can keep doing with this with the Chiefs, dude. Every
Do
year,
it.
every week it just like stacks. It's like I'm just fighting the odds. I can't say the Chiefs. I cannot say the
Ooh.
Chiefs after this week. What the heck, man? Just
Yeah.
like the MVS mess this week is just sours me. I think both of these teams are in a really similar tier to one another. I think they're both really scary, terrifying teams. When we're talking about the upper echelon, the top-notch QBs, best guys in the world, they all lay in the AFC. You don't want to run into the
Yeah.
Ravens, you don't want to run into the Bills, and you don't want to run into the Chiefs because they've got Lamar, Mahomes, and Josh Allen, and those are the dragons, so to speak, of the NFL.
Yeah.
I'd say the Bills, just because I really like the stride that their defense has hit. That being said, the Chiefs' defense has consistently been great. I've liked the play calling more, but it's really been about the guys stepping up. Rasul Douglas, Christian Benford, Ed Oliver, these guys coming together. And Josh Allen doesn't have a great game through the air, but he's effective in the red zone. I've liked the offensive play calling more. I just like the stride that the Bills have hit. I just don't know how I can say the Chiefs this week. I mean, after just their receiving issues have just been so abysmal. MVS, I don't know how that guy has a job.
Yeah.
Ball hits his hands, and he blames Pat Mahomes for not putting it on the money.
Yeah.
Where's the self-awareness, dude? You dropped a TD. You sold the game single-handedly against Philadelphia. This one hits you in the hands, and you immediately go to blame your QB. I don't know. The Chiefs receiving room still leads the NFL this season in drops. Kadarius Toney and MVS suck. Isaiah Pacheco, shout out, 165 yards. It's his fourth game with 150 total yards. Like, these teams are really similar to me. Good defenses, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but just variables outside of them. I don't love either of these teams, but I would just say marginally Buffalo with how they've hit their stride with offensive play calling and their defensive personnel stepping up. Both of these teams are very, very similar to me, but I would marginally say Buffalo. The Chiefs' wide receiver issues are just, I don't know how the Chiefs can overcome them at this point in the season.
Yeah. I understand that. And that's what I've been saying when we talk about can you have faith in them as a Super Bowl frontrunner like you've maintained. But both these teams are really flawed. I actually think it's the Chiefs by a slight margin.
Wow.
And sort of the theme of the episode for me, the better defense and better quarterback formula is tough to pass up on. And I think that the Chiefs have the much better defense. Now, the Bills' defense has been playing better as of late. That's true. The Cowboys game was so impressive what they did defensively. But outside of that, it's not like they've been great. I mean, they still blew the Eagles game. They were pretty good against the Chiefs. These last two games, they've played awful offenses. Like the Chargers with Easton Stick had arguably their best offensive game against the Bills. They've been basically inept against everybody else, and Buffalo had to clutch up to win that game. And then the Pats, like the first quarter and most of the first half of this game was hilarious because it was just turnover after turnover. Shout out Rasul Douglas. That dude just makes big time plays. But then Bailey Zappi's making dudes miss in space. He's scrambling. The Pats were able to move the ball down the field a bit as this game progressed. Like, I just can't put the Bills defense, even though I do think it's playing better, on that level of the Chiefs defense that has been so consistently great. And I think that Buffalo has shown a higher ceiling because they played a game like they did against Dallas. The Chiefs really haven't looked like that all year. They haven't had that game against a good team where they just blow them out of the water. But then the last 2 weeks, they've sucked again. The Bills have just flat out sucked. And two of their last three wins have come where Josh basically just chilled against Dallas, didn't really have to do anything. And then he was outright bad this past game. It was as awful a start to a Josh Allen game as I've seen. Didn't complete a pass forever, was just out of sync. I think that Bill Belichick schemed up a nice game. I think that the Pats got pressure, but Josh, some of his decision making, I mean, his interception just throwing straight up into double coverage, he was just bad. And although I still think he is QB2 for me, again, Lamar is closing in on that. He's really closing in. And Pat just never really lays duds like that. I think people can overstate how much Josh does it, but this was a game where he was just like bad. The Bills' defense has been better. They've been running the ball way better. But I don't know, man. I still see a team that is really inconsistent, and that concerns me.
Both of these teams are puzzling in that respect, man.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird to me that we kind of flop on this because I've been so adamant on staying with the Chiefs. And
Yeah.
I want to be clear. I think all of these teams are legit contenders in the AFC. When you have this kind of quarterback talent at the helm, again, NFL history has proven, like you said, Carson, the theme of this episode, QB and defense, that is the formula that's going to get you through the playoffs. All three of these teams are legit contenders. I just wanted to add, I know I've said this in shows previous, that it's so eerily similar to me, man, with Josh, and having watched Big Ben for so long, dude. I don't know what it is with the starts of these games. They are the rhythm thing, dude. When Josh, I would have PTSD from Ben because my dad and I, the first two drives of the game would tell you exactly the kind of game that Ben was going to have. If he was inaccurate or he threw a pick early, it was like, uh-oh, here we go. It is going to be a disaster of a game. Ben's going to throw 3 picks. He's going to need to throw 2 late TDs in like 4 minutes for us to win this game.
Yeah.
Or he immediately comes out and he's on target with everybody and we're rolling and it's going to be a 4 TD, 1 interception, classic Big Ben game. It's just really eerie to me because like you said, with Pat, there is a remarkable consistency. Peyton Manning, traditionally, remarkable consistency. Brady, Breeze. I don't know what it is with Josh and Big Ben, man, when the start of the game to me really dictates with how the game always goes. I mean, do you feel the same way with me? Like, do you normally see when Josh doesn't have these crazy turnarounds mid-game. It's really, I don't know, it's a rhythm thing with him.
Sometimes he does, but he definitely just has some of those games where he's off. He is out of rhythm. And then he has those games where he's flawless. Like, he can definitely run hot and cold, and that does give the Bills a high ceiling because when we have seen some of the pieces around him start to play better as of late, when he's at his best, yeah, they probably do have a higher ceiling than the Chiefs. But I do think that Kansas City, even with their flaws, it's more consistent because you know that they're probably going to hold the opposing team to under 20. They're probably going to find their way to 20 like they've been losing games as of late. But I have a little bit more faith in that. I don't think either of these teams have a very good chance against the Ravens, though. It's like, what do any of them do better than Baltimore? It would have to take an unbelievable Mahomes or Allen game and a letdown Lamar game, which we just haven't seen this year.
Yeah, or I mean, them faltering right at the end. I don't want to. The thing with you say that now, I think that's because we're looking at this right after. I mean, they just moved the ball impeccably well against Miami. The thing with Lamar and them, it's just going to be about Kansas City or Buffalo slowing down Baltimore in the red zone. That to me is the key more than anything. Like, we say that Miami couldn't stop anybody. I think if we get Baltimore, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, it's going to be a battle of the Titans. That's going to be a great game with the quarterback play that we're going to get. The final thing I wanted to mention was the stat going around. Most games with a perfect passer rating. I meant to say this earlier. Lamar now has tied for the most perfect passer rating games ever. Carson, I don't know if you saw this stat. Do you know the other 4 quarterbacks on this list?
Steve Young.
Oh, unfortunately not.
Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh, no.
Jeez. All right. Well, this list is worthless to me. Those are like the efficiency gods.
Some Rushmore guys and then quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers.
No, this is wild.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is here with 3.
All
these guys have 3. Here? Not Joe.
Peyton,
Brady, Lamar.
Drew Brees.
Not Brees, actually. 2 other QBs who won Super Bowls. 2 QBs who actually faced off against each other in a Super Bowl.
Oh, interesting. I was going to guess Russ. He's always been a passer rating god.
Not Russ.
Faced off in a Super Bowl.
These guys were more slingers, man. They like to sling that ball.
Elway?
Nah. 2009.
Okay, that'd be crazy.
Who faced off?
Oh. Well, first of all, that's for the 2008 season. But Ben and Warner.
Big Ben and Kurt Warner.
Wow.
That's the entire list. All of them 3 perfect passer rating games. And again, considering all those guys are retired, man, Lamar has one more of those games. He's got the most in NFL history.
Wow. How about that? Yeah, I guess that I would just say the difference to me between the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills is that the Ravens are a great football team and the Bills and Chiefs aren't very good football teams. And I have maintained my optimism in their ceilings throughout, but it's like, my God, dude, every week I watch these teams and I'm just like, boy, when is it going to click, fellas? When is it going to click? The Bills had a few weeks where it was clicking, and then they just regress right back to this. And yeah, they play down to competition, and then they play up. And guess what? I still think they're going to beat the Dolphins this week.
Oh, yeah.
I think that without Bradley Chubb, I think they beat the Dolphins and they win the division. And wouldn't that be remarkable to win the division in 11 games after all of the shit that they have put viewers of their football through this year? And that's a testament to Josh Allen and this football team overall. But my God, there's been a lot of underwhelming football.